Welcome back to an exciting episode, guys. This is Prepper Talk Radio with Scott, Shane, and Paris. We are really long overdue for this conversation. We've talked about gold and silver a lot, but we've never gotten this diabolical about it. So pay attention, hit pause if you have to, put away your distractions, and focus. I want laser focus for the next 35 to 40 minutes as we dive deep. I'm kidding. We're not diving deep, are we?
In 30 minutes, we can't get that deep. Sorry.
We can't get that deep. But we're going to dive into a little bit of gold and silver, understanding why preppers love it so much, why Patriots love it so much, why the most sound economic backers say we need to move back to gold and silver. It's one of Shane's favorite topics. Paris loves to talk about finances. And there's fiat and there's real money. Gold and silver is real money, right? And I'm like the innocent bystander who loves all sides of this conversation because it's so phenomenal. I mean, if you want to stop getting screwed over by the globe, the globalists, whatever, understand what real gold and silver means, how it can be used, how you can use it to hedge, how you can use it to protect yourself. It also just feels good to have. It's a weird thing to say, yes, but it feels good to have. Just like my preps, it feels good to have them.
There's nothing like holding a gold coin or a silver coin in your hand and just it sparkles. It's like I almost feel like the Schmiegel, pardon me, on Lord of the Rings. Precious, precious. And they are precious metals. That's the whole point, is that they're there to give us all the value, and it's to store value, and it's frankly, it's God's money anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see it as also grounding. When you're holding something heavy and dense like this, you're connected to Mother Earth, right? Like grounding. So it's a form of grounding to me, even though I may not actually be technically grounded.
That's legit though.
Yeah, it is an experience. It is a unique experience. If you haven't held gold or silver in your hands, like a few months ago, and I know I told you guys this, I got to go over to Sahi in Salt Lake City. They refine gold and silver there. I got to hold a 400-ounce gold bar.
What?
400 ounces.
No, you did not hold it. That.
Did I not tell you guys that?
No. But yeah, I'm surprised they let you hold it.
Yeah, I was able to go in. They let me into the vault. I only got to hold a 400-ounce gold bar that had not yet been polished, or it had dings and scratches on it. So it wasn't perfect, right? It still needed to go through that process. But I was able to pick that thing. It was about, I want to say it was about 80 pounds.
Damn.
And about yay big, if you can see it. And I'll try and find a picture of a similar one, because, of course, they wouldn't let me take any pictures in there. And yes, I see the flag there, Scott. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that bar was worth about $700,000+, just that one bar.
Damn.
So it would basically be 400 times larger than this ounce.
Yes.
This is silver, which is awesome too, but it's not gold. But yeah, 400 times.
It was quite the and just to tour the entire facility of how they refine the gold and silver. And the gold they get in their facility, just as a curious fact, they only bring 1,000-ounce silver bars into the facility. And from those 1,000-ounce, and they're rough bars. They're not, 999 bars. I forget what they're called, but they come right from the mines in this 1,000-ounce form, and they refine gold out of these silver bars. That's where all their gold comes from. Just the silver bars that they bring in is where they get the gold for their facility. They do mostly silver there, but they do quite a bit of gold as well, and it comes out of these 1,000-ounce silver bars that come in. Yeah, that's part of.
So there's gold mixed in there. You're saying?
Yeah,
wow.
And in very rough form, like when it comes, like Kennecott, for example, local mine, they're a copper mine, but in that ore they also get gold and silver and platinum and palladium, and they pull everything out. But they're mainly mining for copper, and if they're not mining for copper, they're not getting anything else. But they're taking everything out they possibly can.
What's funny is like their land rights use is that they have to mine for copper.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they make more money off of the silver, off of the gold, off of the platinum, than they do individually for copper.
Wow.
Copper has become one of their least monetary profitable sectors of what they're doing.
And they are a primary copper miner. So if they're not mining for copper, they're not getting anything else. But let me get this out of the way right up front. We're talking about precious metals. Part of that is also platinum, palladium, like I mentioned. Those are precious metals. I still see them as industrial metals and not monetary metals. So they're not part of my consideration. I don't buy any of either. I don't see them as having a monetary role. So that's the main reason I don't buy those. Even though, yes, they can go up, they can go down. I'm not a gambler, right? This is not about gambling. It's kind of about investing. It's about protecting wealth. It's about protecting buying power, preserving your wealth. And it is real wealth, right? The dollars we have in our wallets or in our numbers in our bank account are not wealth. They are currency at best. And it is not money.
Let me give you a couple of quotes really.
Yeah, well, I was going to pull those up, Paris.
Okay. I was going to give you a couple of quotes about some people that are buying into gold. Quib Sawaris, who is worth $3.4 billion, says 20 to 30% of your portfolio should be in gold for a very good reason. Ray Dalio, who I've talked about on this podcast before, he wrote the book, The Changing World Order. He is he's worth $19.1 billion. And he buys gold and silver because the United States, quote, he says, has bad finances and is spending more than is earning. And so if these Jacob Rothschild, who if you follow any conspiracy theories, he's involved with quite a bit of stuff. He has announced that they're moving out of the US dollar and into gold. Wow. So there's if the billionaires are getting out of the US dollar and moving to gold, that might give you an opportunity to say, you know what, let's take a look. Let's reevaluate why if we don't have any gold, let's reevaluate why not.
And I think the truth is probably with those guys, those billionaires, they probably already have a significant amount of gold and silver in their portfolios, in their stash. They just don't want to tell anybody about it. So they're telling people about it for a reason. It's time for gold and silver to go to the moon. And so they're starting to let truths fly, in my opinion. Right. So, like you said, that in particular investor said 20 to 30% of a portfolio. Typically, it's a 0.5% to maybe 5% is what portfolio managers will kind of advise or allow in their clients' portfolios. Some maybe 10%. 20%. That's just unheard of. But in the past, but now I think it should be a much higher than that. But we won't go there right now. We got a lot more to talk about other than just my investing methods and theories and the way I go about that.
As a disclaimer, we are not offering investment advice. We're purely offering our opinions on the research that we have done, the things that we have found, and we urge you, the listener, to do your own research. Always do your own research, and you will come to the same conclusions that we have.
For entertainment purposes only, right?
Right. There's our disclaimer. Now we can move forward.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, I mean, there are what I wanted to talk about. There are lots of different forms of gold and silver. We could talk about that. We can show some things about maybe how to buy gold and silver, where to start. There's a lot of diversification. You'd think, when you diversify, like in stocks or bonds, and of course, Paris will know more about this, is diversifying in different markets and different segments of different markets, in equities and bonds, and diversifying that way in different risks. So maybe some of you would think that, okay, I buy gold and I buy silver. That's not very diversified, right? But you can, in my opinion, diversify within gold and silver in the products that you buy. Right? In the size, in the, whether it's bullion or it's coin. So there's all different ways to go about that. And we can get into that if you guys want. We didn't talk about how we wanted to go about this conversation, but I'm open, however you want to go.
No, I'd love to talk about that. But I think it'd be important to kind of lay a foundation of why gold and silver is really money instead of currency. It just goes back anciently. I mean, one of the biggest things is that gold and silver is, Robert Kiyosaki, I think, says it best. He says, gold and silver transcends national borders, politics, religion, race, and a person may not like someone else's religion, but he can always accept his gold. And gold is something that no matter what nation you're in, what currency you're in, how it's backed, whatever, if it's the renminbi or the yen or the or the dollar or the ruble or whatever it is. Gold is gold. And language barriers, religious things, your gold is always going to be a tradable resource. Silver is always going to be a tradable resource because it's something that people intrinsically know the value. And one of the coolest things about that is that gold, I mean, the test of time, gold has been a currency for, I don't know how many, I think it's about 5,000 or 6,000 years. Gold has, been money and used as an exchange of value for thousands of years. And the dollar is just the most recent world economic power. It's the most recent thing. We've had the Dutch guilder at one point. We had the British pound at one point. We all of these fiat currencies come and go. And I think the life cycle is around 100, maybe 125 years, if that. But gold always stands the test of time. So after you've got your food storage, after you've got your water storage, after you have your gear in place, and you have some extra money to start investing in the future, gold and silver is where I would put the rest of that money to start, because it's going to give you that foundation of if crap hits the fan, you're not going to be able to do anything with a bunch of dollar bills. You'll probably be able to barter fine if you have a ton of food storage. Yeah, bartering is going to be great. But I promise you, if you want to have somebody do something, when we have an economic crash, and I'm saying when we have an economic crash, I believe that gold and silver is going to be one of the most foundational things we're going to have to help exchange value for services and goods. And that's why it's important to get some. That's why these big billionaires are getting theirs. That's why China is loading up, and all these major world powers are loading up on gold and silver. And even us little guys should have some in our stash, because it's going to be one of the most powerful stores and trade. I have a lot of people tell Paris, you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. Why get gold and silver? Well, yeah, okay, that's why I said get your food first, get your water second, get your gear, get all those stuff in place. And then when you have extra money, start buying gold and silver, because it's going to be a great store of value. It's going to be a great resource for you to be able to exchange goods and services.
Yeah, and without going into a whole lot of details, we just don't have the time. I'm going to recommend everyone goes over to YouTube, go search for Mike Maloney, Hidden Secrets of Money, right? And watch. He's got several very well-produced videos and where he explains the difference between currency and money. And so we won't have time to get into all this. But he talks about the history of money and currency, and they are very well done and very entertaining and very informative. So I highly recommend seek out Mike Maloney. He's goldsilver.com. And
that's spelled Malone.
Yes, Maloney, Maloney.
Oh, there's a Y on there?
Yeah, Maloney. Mike Maloney.
Whoops.
Maloney, yep.
Mike What's Maloney, interesting is if you want to do this the hard way, go start reading books like The Creature from Jekyll Island, which explains how the Fed was created, how they wanted to get us off of gold and silver because they couldn't control it. It's a long read. I've done it. It's fantastic. It's very eye-opening, but Mike Maloney does it in such a concise way that you're like,
and very visual. He has lots of visual aids,
animations
and such that are very well. He spent a lot of money on these videos he's created. So highly recommend those. Most of the stuff I talk about are going to be things which I've learned from Mike Maloney. I've learned from Peter Schiff. I've learned from a lot of other people who know that gold is money and that the currency we have is not money. It's currency.
Right.
And you can even say it is counterfeit money. It is even counterfeit currency because it's being printed without anything backing. Without going into deep detail, our currency stopped being money back in the 1930s. It used to be backed by gold and then backed by silver, or part backed by silver. Our coinage was made out of silver up until 1964. And once they took the silver out of our currency, it was no longer money. It became actually a unit of debt. And then in 1971, when Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard, basically told countries that, no, we will no longer give you your gold back for the gold you gave us that we issued dollars for. That was a default. And that disconnected the U.S. dollar from gold as well. And now it's all fake. It's all counterfeit. And that's a very quick overview. Mike Maloney does a much better job at that.
And just
of course, he has hours of videos.
Another quick overview is the history. When you look back in history, well, has any other economy done where they've slowly filtered out the actual silver content from their coins.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the result of that? And it actually happened in ancient Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I think, the denarii was the coin that they had. And slowly but surely, they tried to devalue that. They tried to keep the same value, but they took the silver out so it didn't have the intrinsic value.
They would actually clip the coins. When the coins came back into the treasury, they would clip a small amount of silver off that coin, and it would gradually become smaller and smaller. And then they would also melt down the silver and gold and mix it with other metals. And other countries have done this over the decades and centuries as well.
Well, it started with the clipping, and that's the interesting thing. It started with the clipping. And when the government was clipping, then the people started clipping.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
And then the government's like, we'll just get less silver, so let's put other ores into it as well, and circulate that, and we'll keep the silver. And then it got to the point where it was like, there's no silver.
Mm-hmm.
And where are we now?
It's just like
Rome, and then Rome collapsed.
Fell.
Exactly. And it's just like what's happening now with the dollar. They just keep printing more and more. So they just keep minting more and more coins that eventually were worth nothing because there was no silver in them, or very little silver in them.
Yep.
So it's exactly what we're seeing today. So that's why we're talking about gold and silver. And one thing that I say all the time, and I'm repeating it from Chris Duane. There's another good name to look up. I don't know if you can even find him anymore. Chris Duane. I've learned a tremendous amount from him. The Hidden Secrets of Money. He has another title. I'll think of it here in a second. But be your own bank. It's something I say all the time. So the banks used to, and I have a silver certificate. I should have that out here. You used to be able to take the dollars that were printed and walk into a bank and get silver and gold, or gold directly for those notes that you had. They were actually said silver certificate and gold certificate on our currency. Now you can't do that. I mean, that's obviously hasn't been that way for a long time. So being your own bank, you hold the currency yourself. I'm not going to go be printing my own currency, right, off of the gold and silver I have in my storage, right? It's to be used for a different purpose. We can talk about those purposes.
So let's segue, if you don't, unless you guys have something else. But let's segue into what you want to talk about, Shane, and talk about maybe different ways to, and just, what like let's pretend that I'm a brand new. I get it. Silver's cool. Gold's cool. I should probably have some. What's my first step? Like, what should I do? Where do I go to buy it? First of all, like how do you even get silver and gold coins? You can't go to the local grocery store and pick those up. So how do I get them? And where should I start? Let's answer
for me, where I started, and I still recommend, is find a local coin shop and go there and get to know the people, at least as much as you can, I guess. And there may be a couple of different shops. Figure out which one you like best, who has the best price, and just start buying whatever you can. I started out buying, single rounds or single coins. Just one, either a round, because it's not a coin, it's not government minted, so it's called a round, or a coin, a government minted coin, like this Britannia here. It's a silver Britannia. The lower premiums, the lower costs are going to be the more generic rounds, not the government coins. So that's where I started, just buying onesie twosies, whatever I could. With
Shane, what's the difference between, or why would somebody want to buy a round versus a government issued coin?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of it is going to be personal preference. I believe you need to have some of both, and it really depends on what you're looking to do with your silver in the end. Because at some point, I'm going to sell my silver or trade it, barter it, because that's what it's for. It's for my retirement. It's for my savings. It's for when it hits the fan, right? So that's how I started, because I knew what I want to do with it in the end. So I started out with trying to get as much silver as I can for my money, and without spending a lot of dollars, without spending a lot of currency, not money. And so I would try and spend as little on the premium as possible. So say there's a spot price right now. It's like around $23, $24. I haven't checked it today. And then there's a premium on top of that. Basically the commission that the dealers need to make, and the wholesalers all the way up the line from the manufacturer. Everyone pays spot price plus the premium. So dealers, everybody's got to make some money in this chain. Back when I started buying rounds, I was paying as little as 20, 25, 30 cents per ounce premium. Now you're lucky to get $3 or $4 or $5 an ounce premium on just the rounds, right?
Yeah.
And on actual coins are government minted. So they are both money and currency. If you look on the back of most of these coins, they will have a denomination. Like this is being the Britannia, it says 2 pounds. And it'll also usually indicate the purity, like 3 nines or 4 nines pure. And so, like with American Eagle, they are both currency and money. And in the state of Utah and other states, they are considered money.
So I was just going to say 3 nines, 4 nines. That's new to somebody. What does that mean?
3 nines means essentially 24 karat gold. It's a purity. It's and it can be, further refined. Kind of like I started out mentioning when we were talking about Asahi. They bring in these 1,000-ounce bars. They're kind of impure. Maybe 92%. They put that through process where they take all the maybe the gold or the other metals out of it and make it more pure. And that's what's called, and I've got a chart here, but
so the 3 nines is 0.999%.
99.9%, but that could be 99.98 and still 3 nines pure. So yes, it's just a more pure version of the silver. And when you look at gold, it stands out more, whether it's 3 nines or 4 nines pure. It's easier to tell.
It's a lot shinier.
It's different. Yeah, exactly. So like, for example,
shiny is just the buffing mechanism.
And the stamping as well. The stamping.
Right.
But like, for example, let's show you here, like this is a Krugerrand, and then you're not gonna be able to see it, but it kind of looks like a little rose gold, right? It looks a little rosy. And then you look at the Buffalo and it's bright yellow. The difference is this is 3 nines, this is 4 nines. And the reason they do that, same with kind of the American Eagle, is also kind of a rose gold. They add some copper to it to make it more durable.
Yeah,
more durable, more usable as a coin.
That's the same.
It's not used as a coin.
That's the same. I don't know if you can see the shininess. I probably need to. That's kind of a rose gold, like you were talking about. That's the gold. That's an Eagle, and then this one is a Britannica. You can kind of see how that just shines. It's almost like a mirror.
Yeah, they're exactly 3 nines versus 4 nines.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in all of these coins, they still guarantee you're getting 1 ounce of gold, even though they're adding other metals to it. So you'll see differences in, as you can see, size. These are both 1 ounce, but the Canadian coin is quite a bit smaller, but it's also thicker. So you're going to see the differences that way. It's more noticeable if it's between 4 nines and 3 nines, but you're going to see different hues, slightly different colors. But the more pure it is, the more yellow it is. So, okay. So what I was showing here.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Scott?
I was just going to say, getting gold and silver, going to your local shops. There are some places online you can get it, and you can always get a better price when you're buying larger amounts. Like there's jmbullion.com.
Yes.
But one of the things that I've made a couple of mistakes in buying gold and silver. One of the mistakes is I actually went to a pawn shop once to buy some silver, and I ended up not buying it. And then I went over to Rust Coin and was talking to them about it. And they're like, "Oh yeah, they'd have charged you an extra $5 for that 1 ounce," and that's just their markup, right? So retailing it, going and buying it from someone other than an actual coin shop, you're going to find they're going to have their markup. So be cautious of that when you're buying your gold and silver. Yeah,
and sometimes even the local coin shop will say, you know what, we're selling this item at X price. It's not a spot plus price. It's just this is the price we want to get for it. So say, for example, something more premium like this bar. This is a PAMP bar. As you can see, it's sealed. It's got a serialized number. It is much more official, right? So this is going to have even a higher premium, but it comes along with some trust. This is silver, 100 grams, and then of course they do that in gold as well. A little more premium.
And I think it's important that what you just mentioned. It comes along with some trust. So why do we need that trust? Because people can make fake coins and fake bars, and if you have a stamp on there, you can't easily imitate those stamps. And so if you have a stamp on there, people know that's legit silver. That's real That's going to, if it says 999, or it's going to be 999 or 4 nines.
And of course, they can still be faked as well. And you've got to do your due diligence. Silver is not going to be faked nearly as much as gold is.
So just be careful if you're buying anything on eBay or things like that. Just be careful, especially
on those
places.
I won't buy off online. I only buy from trusted source, right? When it comes to the time where I have to exchange, that's a whole other thing when we start to barter with it. But sorry,
another thing that's important, like I realized that when I was going to go get some silver, like you can get these really fancy, you can see this one actually is a collector's item. This is a US minted collector's item. Quote unquote collector's item. And because it's in a case, it's mint, it's proof set, it's all that stuff. So for folks who want to maybe just trade it right now, it's graded. So you can trade it right now, maybe have it as a collection and maybe sell it later for a little bit higher premium because it's supposedly been kept more pure, clean, whatever, out of the hands of the oils of your hands. But to me, I wasn't buying the silver to be a collector. I was buying the silver for the end that Shane was talking about, is for a purpose. I began with the end in mind, which is a great philosophy. So I even picked up like silver bars like this. This is, I think this is 10 ounces. And this is you can buy them in this kind of rectangular cube format. And then they have the bigger 10 ounce ones that are looks like a bigger version of what Scott shared with us earlier. They're bigger and flatter and skinnier. Yeah. And so get a couple different variations. The rounds are going to be, if you're out on the trail or if you're out in the middle, it's a zombie apocalypse and you got silver, whether it was a round or an American Eagle, I don't think they're going to much care about that.
Yeah.
If there's a government that's still going, or trying to do some things, and we're still in a little bit of a situation where maybe silver prices go, because it's $24 an ounce right now. Maybe silver prices, which they're supposed to be, by the way, about $150, $200 an ounce right now is what it should be.
Go to US Debt Clock. Yeah, USDebtClock.com. It'll tell you.
If you go to there, you're going to walk into the bank and say, look, I want to get some of these silver ounces that I have, and I want to trade them in for money. The bank is probably not going to be not going to look at the rounds as readily as they're going to look at those government issued coins. So there's a reason to have a few of each. So
exactly. Yep. And also, I guess I wanted to go back to where we started. I started buying rounds, but I also started to make this a bit of a collection, right? So you can easily pick up, like, this is a panda. Very nice. It's a Chinese panda. All different kinds of coins, Australian kookaburras. These are coins which have a little higher premium, but there's a lot of pretty designs and such. So I started to make it a bit of a collection. If you can see these designs on my terrible camera there, the kookaburra. And so it was kind of a fun little collection, yet still being mindful of the spot price. And then as I started to have a good collection of just ounces, like Paris was showing, I started to go to bars because bars have lower premiums. 10 ounce bar. This is a poured bar. You can actually see the shape of the mold as it was poured, or extruded bars like you were showing there, Paris. 10 ounce extruded bar, which are very pretty as well. I mean, they're stamped. And then, going to a little more specialized product like a kilo bar. And this one is a premium kilo
bar. And that's
bar.
one you just got too, isn't it?
Well, I've had this one for a little while, but I got the 100 ounce recently. This is a kilo.
Oh,
so I do have 100
and a kilo is what, 30 something
32 ounces.
Got it.
So you can see this came in a plastic case, and it's also it's in plastic as well, right? So this is a premium bar. You pay a little bit more for this one, for these types of bars, because it's shiny, it's polished, and they just put more time and effort into it, and it's a little bit more of a collection item. And I have very minimal of this kind of stuff in my collection because it just costs more. You spend more per ounce, and ultimately you get less silver over time if you're spending more on premiums like that. But for me, it's a little bit of a collection. I have fun with it, but again, not going overboard saying I want all the premium silver or I want all the premium gold. So like
get a variety. Right. That's
exactly.
Get a variety and diversify in anything you do. Diversify.
Exactly.
Like if you're thinking food storage and you only get wheat, you're going to be so miserable when that's all you have to live off of. Right.
Yeah.
You're going to be so miserable if all you bought was one type of bean. So buy different types of beans, buy rice, buy wheat, buy canned goods, get your freeze dried if you want to. Right. And always use the rule first in, first out. Rotate everything you have in your home store. So when it comes to your gold and silver, like I've had to spend my precious metals. There was a time oh man, it's been 4 years now. 4 years ago, or we had some really financial challenges, and I took the silver that I had and I took about 3/4 of it and I went and sold it, and it was higher than what I bought it at. And it saved our bacon. Right. And
you were your own bank.
I was my own bank, guys. I was my own bank, but also like gold and silver is real. It's tangible. It's money. It's something you have on hand and you can use immediately. You know, I feel very blessed in Utah. It's gold and silver is, by our state laws, has to be used as a mode of exchange. It is money. And it's not just the stamped gold and silver from the U.S. Treasury Office. It's any gold and silver. So I can use rounds and go to the bank and deposit that. And they
I think they will actually right now only take the face value of the coin, which this is $5, but this is $150 10th ounce coin. So that's not a good idea at this point.
Not the best idea.
It will be eventually.
Another thing that I thought about was the tradability in the future of coins. Like if I came upon somebody and I wanted to trade for, say, a wagon or something that was maybe $100, I don't want to give them a 1 ounce gold coin because that's about $2,000 right now. So one of the things that I did was I started, obviously silver is going to do that. That's about it. I figured silver at the time I bought silver, started buying silver, it was 15 an ounce. It went up to 30 and now it's back down to 24. And so I was like, all right, an ounce is about $20. So if I see something that is a value of about $20, where I think would be value about $20, 1 ounce silver coin is sufficient for that. And then I started to realize, look, I needed to have I needed to get a little bit different denominations of gold. And so gold, like I have this one, this is a 1/10 ounce gold. I don't know if you can see it. And then there's 1/4 ounce, and then there's a 1/2 ounce, and then there's 1 ounce. There's even different denominations from that. So I got a little bit of each so that I have the ability to kind of break down like I don't want to take a 1 ounce coin. I can't cut that in half, but I can take a 1/2 ounce and I can use that. I could take a 1/4 ounce and use that. And I could take a 10th ounce and use that. And I can have that. So I have the ability to spend it in different denominations, so to speak. And I think that's something that is another good part of getting into the gold and silver situation.
They even have the gold and silver. There's some, the Volcambi bars. I don't know if you've looked into those at all, or the tribute bars, where you can actually, they're perforated bars, and you can actually snap off a gram. You'd be like, oh,
I've seen those.
Here's a gram of silver. Here's a gram of gold.
Typically come with a very high premium, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was saying about diversifying in gold and silver, is having different sizes. Like I've got 10th ounce silver rounds here. I've got silver quarters. You know, these are 90% quarters. So like you're saying, with being able to barter, I've got 1/4 ounce silver rounds as well. So I have that diversification.
You'd call that constitutional silver, is that right?
This I'd call constitutional. These quarters are silver quarters.
So money
or constitutional.
So quarters or coins that were minted prior to 1964 have actual real silver in them, and that's what constitutes a constitutional silver coin or silver
dimes, quarters, $50 or dollars. Before, but not nickels. They were made out of nickel, and they're not even made out of nickel now. Nickel's still too valuable to make a nickel out of nickel. Right.
That's crazy.
Which is amazing.
But, you guys, diversifying in different sizes,
Do you guys remember the movie The Italian Job?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So one of the things in The Italian Job that always, this is one of the reasons to diversify. He would take the bad guy that stole from his buddies and tried to kill him. He would take the gold bars and he would take them to an intermediate who would then exchange them and try to get him cash. And one of the things that always stuck with me is he's like, I can't move these right now. They're too hard to move. I can only give you this much.
Yeah.
Here's some walking around cash until I can get the rest sold. And the guy was ticked. He was like, what? Right? There's only value for what can be transferred around. If it's too big, you're not going to be able to transfer it around. Like, I'm not giving this whole thing up for this guy that just did 2 days worth of work for me. I can't give him $500 worth of gold for that.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't make sense. So having diversified options, a lot of smaller coins, that makes a lot of sense so that you can actually use it in exchange.
But, of course, the problem with that is paying much higher premium. If you buy an ounce of 10 of the 10th ounce American Eagles, you're going to spend almost $3,000 an ounce with because of the premium, maybe $2,500. I haven't checked it for a while, but instead of say buying a 1 ounce American Eagle for $2,000, you're going to pay $2,300, $2,400, $2,500 for an ounce because you're buying them in 10th ounce. Right. And so that can be difficult to figure out how you want to do that.
So what I'm saying isn't just to go buy a whole bunch of, cards with grams in it that you can snap off. I'm saying get some big, get some medium, and get some small, right? And then if you come across coins, check the dates. If they're prior to 1964, keep them.
Yep.
Those have real value.
And I showed you guys that I was at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and for change, I actually got a 1941 Mercury dime. It's not called a Mercury dime; it's called something else. But I got this in the change machine at freaking Walmart. That awesome, just does not happen anymore. That does not happen anymore. So I figure somebody's out spending grandma's change.
What year is that? 1944?
1941. Silver dime. And
so
only worth a couple dollars, but hey, that's worth a lot more than 10 cents.
So I'd say if you're brand new listening to this and you've never really got into the precious metal market, I would probably say start with silver. Silver has the highest potential upshoot or headed to the moon, whatever phrase you want to use. And so if you only have a certain number of dollars to spend, get as many silver, like let's say you only had $100, go get 4 or 5 silver 1 ounce silver. You probably only be able to get 3 and then you'll get your change back, but go get some silver 1 ounce coins, get some half ounce, get some quarter ounce, get some different denominations of silver. And every month put a little bit of money into getting more and more silver. Once you feel like you've got a good solid stash of silver, then maybe start saving up to being able to buy those gold coins and diversify into gold. But silver for sure, I would start with. If you've got enough money to do it, because a 1 ounce coin is easily right now, it's like I think I checked yesterday, it's $2,100 if you buy, including the premium. That's including the premium. It's like 19 something an ounce plus. It's like 1950 an ounce plus the premium is going to be closer to 2050, 2080, something like that. So it's about $2,100, give or take. So that's a pretty big chunk of money if you don't have it. But if you want us to get started, I would say start with silver. I actually probably had, I'm not going to disclose exactly how many silver ounces.
We're all listening. What's your address too, Paris? Come on.
Yeah, well, while I'm at it, let me tell you where I keep it and the code to the safe. Anyway, so I actually had a significant stash of silver before I started to invest in gold. And so now I increased my silver and I'm working on my gold. So I kind of do a little bit of both now, but I definitely started with silver, and I think that was something that was really good to do. I feel good about that anyways.
Yeah, now here's something to keep in mind, what's called the gold to silver ratio. Right now, I just calculated it's 81 to 1. So essentially, you can buy 1 ounce of gold or 81 ounces of silver. But like Paris was saying, silver has the potential to go give you much higher returns. Yeah, there are a lot of people that say that gold and silver, they're only for preservation of wealth, they're insurance. Yes, they are. That's absolutely true. But because of all the excessive debt printing, money printing, currency printing, that gold and silver are gonna go much higher, and they're going to be used for more other purposes other than just preserving wealth, right? So 81 to 1. So if you need to hike somewhere and take your wealth with you, it's better to have gold, right? You can carry 1 ounce a lot easier than 81 ounces. So that's the benefit of gold. If gold doubles, silver will probably quadruple or quintuple or go 10 times. So that's the benefit of silver. It's highly undervalued. Silver comes out of the ground at 7 ounces to 1. 7 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So, and the historic valuation of silver is about 15 to 1. So silver being 81 1 to 81, you can
It's way
see
undervalued.
there's a lot of catch up that silver has to do to get higher to gold. So if it were just 80, if it were at the historic 15 or 16 ounces to 1 ounce of, let me just do the math real quick. 1 ounce of gold's at 1945, and if we divide that by let's say 16, silver should be $121 an ounce, according to history. In history, I mean hundreds of years of history, not just decades, where we've been in this higher ratio for only a couple of decades, maybe 3 or 4 at most. Mm-hmm. So silver has much more potential to make you rich if that's what you want, right?
Yeah. And one last thing before I turn it back to Scott to close this out is that I don't recommend, and I'm sure Shane will agree to this, don't buy notes. Buy actual silver, buy actual gold that you can take possession of. Mm-hmm. Don't buy ETFs, don't buy gold stocks, don't buy gold. I mean, yeah, do that if you want to, but also what we're talking about is the physical, tangible, put in your pocket, hold it in your hand, gold and silver. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. Nice hefty kilo. You just got to hold these things. They're just, you want to punch somebody with it,
right? So here's what I'm saying, guys. If you have questions about gold and silver, hop in our Facebook group, Emergency Prep and Self-Reliance. Hop into the comments on our YouTube channel, Prepper Talk Radio, and let us know what your questions are, because we answer those, right? The best places in the group, that's where we're most active. But get in there, ask the questions. We'll give you the resources. We'll point you in the right direction. And we can answer all the questions you have about emergency preparedness as well. I mean, the whole lifestyle of prepping, we all take it a little bit differently, and that's fine. That's good. You need to do it the way that makes the most sense to you. So you might resonate better with Paris. You might resonate better with me. You might resonate best with Shane and like the way that we explain things. So ask us, pick our brains. Let us know what you have questions about. Get involved with us. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and you're turning on notifications on YouTube. Be part of the family. Be part of the Prepper Talk Radio community. And we've got some exciting things coming down the pipeline. So stay with us. We are excited about some of the future interviews we're about to do. We're doing a lot of product reviews. So make sure you check those out on our YouTube channel. If you have product reviews you want us to do, things you have questions about, make sure you're posting in the comments so we can respond and do videos and get you that information. It has been fantastic having the time to talk to you about gold and silver tonight. Stay tuned for more. We're about to go live. We go live every Wednesday in our group and on YouTube. So make sure you're there for those. It's typically around 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And as always, you're listening to Prepper Talk Radio. This week has been brought to you by Blackbeard Fire Starters. I freaking love my Blackbeard Fire Starters. Go to blackbeardfire.com, use the promo code PrepperTalk, and you'll save 10% off of everything you order on their site. Works site-wide, so have some fun with that. And we're going to see you on the next episode.